Okay, so it looks like I'm back at it. Well, I didn't realize that the PCB, the flexible PCB I was going to put inside this is supposed to work with curved edges, not straight ones. So if I put this in first and put this on top of that, these edges are going to get bent beyond their limits, and it's going to definitely crack. So what I did was I designed this Infusion 360 to act as a former, which I am going to 3D print right now. So I have my printer set up. I lost one of these clamp things, so I had to make do with a screw and a couple of washers on each side. And now I'm going to carry out the painful task of dead leveling. Let's see if I can get this in. Hold it up. Get this all in one shot. Alright, that should be good. And there's my classic water bottle. So what I do is I get the print head to each corner. Ow! Maybe not put my fingers inside the fan vent. I get the print head to each corner and move the Z axis down till I hear a click. And just level by eye, I guess. Make sure that there's as little of a gap as possible, or maybe even no gap, that would be good. But if there was no gap, filament would simply get stuck in the nozzle and that wouldn't be too good. So I'm just praying and hoping that my manual leveling holds up. It doesn't help one bit that this bed is slightly shaky, and I have to look at it from a very shallow angle so that the shadow and the actual nozzle itself act as a guide to how much gap there is between the plate and the nozzle. Gets a little awkward sometimes. What was that? Maybe I should turn off notification from Discord. Okay, hopefully my bed is now level, or at least level enough for a successful print. So what I do next is I preheat the hmm, where's the setting? Prepare, preheat PLA and preheat PLA. Alright, now that's going to take a while, and in the meanwhile I can mess around with my slicing engine and put the firmware, not firmware, put the G code into this SD card. Okay, print done, and we have another small box that fits inside the original box quite well. It's a little loose because I've accounted for the thickness of my copper strip, double the thickness of my copper strip because it goes on both sides. I mean, I hope I did it right, but let's see. Fortunately, I still have some bits from yesterday to play with, so I can do some testing on whether this bending tool works. It's not a bending tool, it's just a form. So if I do this, it should follow the form exactly. There is a little bit of thing, but we can fix that by taking it off the form and messing with it. And it seems to work quite well. It fits the curve very accurately. It just slides off. So I guess this is going to work quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one long strip to go around the sides. Then I will have two strips each across the length and breadth like this. It should cover it. So I'll put those things into the, no, that doesn't make any sense, does it? So you'll have a form, you'll have one strip that goes all around this, and then you'll have two in each way. So in the end, they nest together in this fashion. That doesn't make any sense. I guess I just have to finish it and show you. So this process was quite pretty, so I thought I'll record it, how I made this part in particular. I already soldered this part over the gas flame and it turned out quite well. It fits with a little effort. It's a bit tight, but I guess that's the way I want it. Anyways, so I roll this out. I measure 7 centimeters because I've already measured the box and I know how much to cut, which is around 7. Ouch, it's so difficult to do this behind camera, and there's this stuff that's on the bench that keeps stabbing you. Sharp ends. I cut that, and then the technique I learned yesterday of doing this. Which helps flatten out the metal and rounds off the sharp curved edges a bit. So what I do now is I take this form, and not very precisely wrap this metal copper strip. God, I'm at a loss of words. At a loss for words. Never mind. So, anyways, I wrap it around this, and it's kind of very rough, as you can see. And then what I do is I put this inside here, and I put the form on top of it, like this. And then I squeeze. The 3D printed structure seems to hold up quite well. I squeeze a little bit, I move it around to make sure it's nice and tight, and bam, perfect fit. It slides off quite easily. So what I was planning to do was to have this part go in like this, and then have these things fit inside like this in a somewhat overlapping fashion. It's not too tight, which is good. So this is how I form the container. There's of course a little gap here that will be filled by the two strips going this way, but then the corners. Anyways, so the flex PCB goes in like this. Almost perfect fit. It's a little uneven. I guess I'll straighten it out later. It's supposed to fit perfectly in this way. Okay, I think that was a good one. Yes, so it's supposed to fit in like this. And hopefully there'll be enough gap once I've finished making everything to put the PCB here and then put the thing on top. Maybe these things should go on the bottom and this should go on the inside. But then again, tolerances. It does seem to fit, but it's a bit of a tight squeeze, especially in the corners. I mean, on these edges. So I guess I'll go with the original plan. If that does not work, at least I know what to do. Well, things didn't exactly go according to plan. I used the gas stove to do this joint, but then I switched over to my hot air gun because it was getting too inconvenient. I didn't want to keep getting up and going all the way to the kitchen, but then I overdid it, and this all the joints melted and this whole thing fell apart. But luckily, I was patient enough to make another one, and this one came out 100% perfect. And yes, it does fit inside the 3D printed case, fortunately. And I can also put the heater around it. This is the heater for the this is the flex PCB for the heater, and that goes like this. Like that. That just slides in, hopefully without damaging the PCB too much. And there you have it, a temperature controlled, EMI shielded, except for these two slots here. I don't know what I'm going to do. Perhaps just copper tape it together. Box. Yeah. I guess there'll be a part 3 because I also have to make a lid for this with all the same restrictions. But I have some good ideas. Maybe I'll get to implement them.